Who's really watching cartoons on Saturday wearing sunglasses? Here's your look at the new NECA toys, Toony Terrors They Live, Male Alien. Bring the fun of Saturday morning cartoons to your horror collection with these adorable little creeps. Pick your favorites or collect them all and make every day Toony Terror time. Now before we see what's new in the news, let's go ahead and measure off the male alien from They Live. And while I'm doing this as well, I'd like to thank the folks over at NECA Toys that did provide this sample of the brand new Toony Terrors They Live male alien. We can have a look at this review. Taking right to the very top of his head though, the male alien stands exactly 5 inches in height, or the figure's about 12.5 centimeters tall. Comparisons? I got your comparisons here. Here's what the male alien looks like along with Shorty. I recently looked at Toony Terror's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Here's what the figure also looks like with Captain Blake from The Fog. For no other reason than I just like Captain Blake. Also, he's about the same size. And a figure that's a little bit more gestured differently. Here's what the figure also looks like with Ghostface. Did want to bring in Ghostface, seeing as we just now are getting the new Scream coming to theaters pretty soon, in fact. And while Ghostface is not even near the size or height of the male alien, the male alien again is a little bit taller than Shorty and about the same size as Captain Blake. If you were to compile a list of accessories to come include with the male alien, you would start and stop with only the first entry, as the male alien comes include with the brainwashing pamphlet. I do think in a case like this also the male alien could have benefited from having a display stand. You see right now he stands fine, but because he's got such a small footprint and such a rather large head, sometimes the figure does have a little harder time to stand, especially if you're spinning him around on a turntable. Probably don't do that often in your own collection space. But anyways, let's have a look at the one thing that he comes included with is, again, the pamphlet. The pamphlet on the outside, you can see, says, stay asleep. On the other side, it says, obey. But then if you open up the inside, it says, watch TV and no imagination. Being that this is at least cardboard, one benefit that goes along with this is that you can actually fold it the opposite way. So if you prefer to have no imagination being on the front, no watch TV on the other side, you can do that. Or again, you can flip it around the way it was originally coming out of the packaging. And I do honestly wish that this could have been done in plastic, just by the makeup of it being cardboard. You know, cardboard is not always going to have the longevity that plastic does. I mean, I obviously know that that's a waste of additional material. Cardboard would be the easier and cheaper means to make an accessory like this. But just again, like cardboard doesn't really last very long. I have that cardboard standee that came included with, for example, the Freddy's Dead, or was it the Super Freddy? That's right. I don't have that anymore. I don't know what its whereabouts remain unknown. Anyways, though, you can take the pamphlet, and while you can't really fit it into this hand, it barely stays in there. It's better suited, I feel, to be fit into this hand here. And unfortunately, by doing that, you can already see the way it just bends the paper. Anyways, at least it's an accessory that comes included with the figure. As I did say, though, earlier, the figure does have a peg hole in the underside of his feet. He doesn't have a display stand, though, so further up the arm it goes, or further up the arm, further forward it goes, I should say, the more likelihood there is that the figure's going to be falling forward. Like, for example, if you bring his arm up like this, it sort of does off-kilter him a little bit. I'm actually surprised he's balancing as well as he is. Picking, though, up the figure, let's go ahead and just remove it right now. And getting a closer look at this. Seeing a suited figure certainly is a rare change from what we're normally used to seeing here for Toony Terrors. I've got to say I like the look of this. And also seeing a suited character like this reminds me of one Toony Terror I would love to see NECA Toys do, and that's the tall man from Phantasm. I would imagine they probably could use a very similar type of body as this, and simply just retool a brand new head sculpt. But you know, NECA doesn't just stop and start at that. Start and stop at that. They'll certainly do a lot more for a tall man than just giving him a standing pose like this. They'll probably even try to have him in a running pose. I don't know. But I would certainly like to see a tall man get released in a later wave. Head sculpt wise, though, for the male alien, as terrifying as it may seem, it's a nice looking representation of the aliens that we get from They Live. It's sort of, again, malnourished. You got the more brighter blue skin, little spots, sections there done in the more darker burgundy, and very open eyes staring at you. It's a scary looking face. I wonder if we are going to be getting ourselves a female version of the alien. Not likely. I would imagine they're probably only going to be doing the one Toony Terror of the alien and then call it a day. But I like the coloring on this one quite a lot. Spin this around from the back, other than the fact that there's the blue skin. You'd be none the wiser to think that that's anything wrong with the person. Oh, until, of course, you spin this around. And what a frightful sight you get instead. As for the rest of the suit's the most normal thing about the figure. Of course, he does have the blue skin on the hands. He does have, again, the little gashes, the little markings there done in the red. But all the rest of the suit still stays pretty human-like. I like the striping of the tie. It does kind of remind me of a peppermint stick. Does anybody even have peppermint sticks anymore? I would imagine those are things that still are around. The suit, while being black, is actually coming across more like a matte black. And he does have pants, of course, obviously. You would not want to draw too much attention by not wearing pants, even though he is a blue alien. You can see like the pants are about the same color as the suit. They almost seem like they're a slightly darker shade. Could also just be my eyes as well. And he's got very large feet. Again, there's the peg hole as well. If you want to use a display stand, even though one's not really included with the figure. For the articulation, though, on the male alien, we're going to start with his head sculpt first. I will say it's a bit on the more limited side. You can rotate it, but while you're rotating, it squeaks, it creaks, and it's very tight to actually move. I suppose in theory you could rotate all the way around. That would likely kill him whether he's an alien or not, but you can rotate all the way around. The arms are on straight swivels, so you can rotate those also all the way around. This one being the bent of the two, this one being the straight of the two. You can rotate those all the way around, and the hands also do rotate all the way around as well, as they're simply just pegged in place. The figure has no waist articulation, just it's a continuation of the sculpting that they did for the top of the jacket. However, he does have foot articulation. Though the more you're moving the feet, the more you're probably going to off-kilter this guy. Again, I did say in this review that he has a harder time to stand, and yet all the times I've done this and put this guy down, you probably have noticed he hasn't fallen over one bit. But I would say I would probably still use myself a display stand. Even though the figure doesn't technically come included with one, I might still find myself a display stand to put it on the underside of the male alien. Just that way the figure doesn't fall over. And speaking of a figure that also wasn't falling over at the time of the review, here's a figure of course, Shorty that came included with the display stand. And I haven't yet done this. Let's just go ahead and just remove this. I wanted to see, I'm just curious more than anything else, if this is the same size of peg. Let's check the bottom of this. Because while I don't have as much problems with Shorty standing, yeah, you know what? I could use the display stand really for the male alien. I might just do that. Because again, while his footprint is smaller than Shorty, I think there's much more the likelihood if this figure is going to fall, it's probably going to be falling more for the male alien than it will likely fall for Shorty, who's got the bigger clown-sized shoes. Here in final looks, with his arm straight out, is the male alien from They Live. His arm is only out effectively by using the display stand that didn't in fact come included with the male alien, but did in fact come included with the Shorty from Killer Clowns of the Outer Space. We've just finished having a look at that figure. That figure is fine with the size of his clown shoes. It's more than enough to balance the sizing of the figure, but whereas that figure had bigger sized feet, unfortunately the male alien with his smaller businessman shoes, his legs so close together, and a broader shouldered torso, yeah, he stands fine if you're going to have his arms parallel to his body. But, though, if you did want to have his arm out like I've got right now, showcasing propaganda, I would certainly recommend using a display stand. And one actually added note, too, by having his arm straight out like that, you would think that his arm would look disjointed. Not the case at all. In fact, when you're looking at it, it looks like the arm seamlessly blends into the rest of his body. So you can actually either have the arm up or you can have the arm down. If you have the arm up, though, I would certainly recommend using a display stand that, again, didn't come included with the figure, but one that you can easily rip off from the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Shorty. What do you guys, though, think of the male alien? Is this a great addition to the Toony Terrors collection? Let me know down below your thoughts in the comment section down below. And once again, a big thank you to the folks over at NECA Toys that did provide this sample of the male alien from They Live that we could have a look at in this review. For your video question, as we haven't certainly done one in a while, speaking of John Carpenter, who of course was the man behind the scenes for They Live, what's your favorite John Carpenter movie? Let me know down below in the comment section. And certainly as well, if you enjoyed this video, I want to hit it with a like. If you guys are enjoying the content you guys are seeing, and certainly do want to stick around for more, because we are going to be looking at still some more Toony Terrors. If you haven't already done so, please and thank you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, and that you're also turning on the bell notification. As I already said, we are going to be looking at the rest of the Toony Terrors lineup for this wave. So if that's the kind of thing you guys like to come back to this channel for, do please, yes, come back to this channel, because there's definitely going to be a lot more videos coming your way. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.